at one level, at a comprehensive level, so he just sees he has a synergistic pattern, and that what that will be, we cannot know. Now, my sense is, again, along the lines of him, is at this time now, we're talking now in the year 2002, the early piece of it, and at this particular time, against 200,000 years of human experience, we're coming into a new time of qualitative transformation in our relationship to the broader cosmos. There is a purpose to our being here, humanity, and that we have a, so that's at one level. So that's talking about synergy almost metaphysically, or almost in terms of gaining a ground for understanding our purpose. The second would be if we have some sense, or the follow-up is if we have some sense of what the purpose is, what is it? It's to move across entropy and bring increased pattern of conscious understanding to the process of which we are a part. So we want to understand the world context. The context is going on. So what is going on that one would gain understanding of from a comprehensive reading or sensing or intuiting of the environment that would be difficult if you're so distracted or so concerned with a particular aspect of it that you're not, there's a term, you can't see the forest for the trees. You're so interested looking at the trees that you can't see the whole forest. And there's something about seeing the whole forest that gives you a comprehensive understanding that is different and important by taking the measure of the whole process, and I think there is. And it would be, how do we relate that to everyday reality now, in terms of the political, economic, and sociological development of the planet and so forth? A couple of things came up in terms of fuller perception. This is now within the more realistic, grounded view of the material reality and the psychological conditions. Well, that would be in my view, what I could. That's between a comprehensive understanding where you see patterns between subject areas, let's say, instead of going in great detail into the subject area, or reductionist, going specialization. And that's the pattern in academia or in the world, is that people become very specialized. They do it for economic reasons. If something is rare and specialized, that has more value in the marketplace, and also academically, because everything seems so complex that you can't see the whole. And it seems impossible for people to think about being able to be concerned with the whole, particularly often when they're overwhelmed within their area of discipline that they're interested in by so much, and there's so much to learn. You can just learn. Buckminster Fuller had a sort of jaundiced look at this. He said, there are world pirates, we'll say, he just took this term, I think kind of laughingly, who run the world. That is, they make the political decisions, the economic decisions that operate in the world, and they are comprehensivists. And they have a sea view, they think of the whole, they have the whole system in mind, or he had analogies to the ancient kings and this sort of thing. And they had a rule that, and he had a statement he made at one time. He said, graduate schools were a conscious ploy on the part of the people who are, in a certain sense, responsible for the systems that operate this spaceship Earth, a term he coined, where they would create graduate schools in university, greatly more disciplined, divided up into specialized fields and everything, as a way of having the best minds coming up get so specialized in terms of their field, the use of the semicolon in medieval French literature, or some sort of thing where you're so specialized and so burrowing into that you could never think about the whole and become a threat to those who think that way. So there's a difference between comprehensive understanding and a realistic or a quantitative understanding that is characteristic of academia. And so we'll take care of everything, you take care of your little area of concern, and that sort of thing. And he was saying, we want to understand the forest, the whole pattern, and not the detailed, special aspects of that forest. We want to look at the whole painting rather than the dots that make up the painting. And so it's pattern recognition, and pattern recognition is one of the uniquely distinctive characteristics of human consciousness. We can recognize patterns, but we tend to specialize people out in the name of practicality and in the name of finding a place. Was that that I found very interesting was that he had a thing called world game, where he would take all of the resources of the world and understand in a comprehensive way the evolution of human society and that sort of thing. And he looked at that in the world game, and he had a measure. Let's put it in the practical level of reality in terms of the thinking of it. He took the measure of our capability to provide what he called life support for the human society which was evolving. There were more and more people all the time, through time, but he said the technological development, and he was very interested in the effects of technology, and he saw this relationship. He said the technological development was making it possible for a higher percentage of the world population through time to be able to be seen to be what he called haves, as opposed to have-nots. We say haves and have-nots. And he said that he made it projectable, so we get the steam engine. That makes possible creating more wealth and more capability to provide, and that and other technologies. And he had his chart. He said that by about and he said that we're moving along through human history, and we got up to be where over the long haul there was, and this would include intellectual understanding as well as material resources. So it had an intellectual and a physical capability factored in. But he said throughout all of human history, only a small percentage, the kings on the hill, were haves, or the pharaoh were haves, and anything like we would mean by it. And that would call for a definition of what we mean by haves and have-nots. But he worked the one out, and he had that, and he said and then he said, but we gained because and it was because of the technology. And the technology is a thing of our time, or it's coming into fruition in a way that after a long period of human history, you could have lived in the, I don't know, 8th century or something. It would take 500 years to invent a name.